Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the third Nature Eye flight that we're doing with Wild Earth. I would like to introduce you to Michael, not the same Michael who flew us the first time around Antioch. This Michael is slightly, I would say, leaner than the first Michael, although he does have an impressive set of calves and boots. All right, we're going to take off, and then I'll tell you a little bit about where we are and what we're doing. Michael is going to give me control. There, I have clicked.
You have control now.
And off we go. Bye, Michael. So I'll just do a little bit of we'll go up quite high here, and then we'll do a little sort of turn around while I tell you what we're doing. Now, this is the valley of the Kariga River in the Eastern Cape of South Africa. And it's a magnificent part of the world, especially when there's no wind blowing, and that is quite a rare thing these days. And what we're doing here is taking you on a flight. And we're taking you on the flight not so much because we want to show you this area, which we do, obviously. I mean, it's a beautiful part of the world. But it's also to demonstrate to you that you could be doing this. So I am flying the drone. Michael is there to help me if there's a problem, which I'm sure there won't be. But if you look at the bottom of your screen, you can see the controls, and those are all me pushing the controls. So the point is that you could be doing this. And you can do that by going to natureeye.com. There are 3 African locations, various other locations around the world, including one over a volcano in Iceland. And you put in the promo code WildEarthFly, and you'll get $10 off your first flight. And that's how you, too, can be flying around the world in a drone remotely from wherever you happen to be in the universe. Okay, I'm just going to quickly, briefly give you a little bit of history here, and then Michael's going to take us to where he found some elephants and buffalo earlier. This river is quite remarkable. And when Michael was probably about 3 years old, that gap there that you can see in the river, in fact, was closed. And as a young child, we used to go past that little, what we call the precipice, and we'd sometimes park either side of it and have our lunch there. This is in a boat. And slowly over the years, it washed away. And it broke through, I can't remember exactly when, probably about 10 years ago or so. But we watched it all happen, and it's remarkable to watch an oxbow lake form. That's exactly what this will eventually become, probably long after I'm a war and deed. Okay, Michael, tell me where to go. Let's go and find those elephants and those beefaloes.
If you head basically straight forward, you will head in the direction where the buffalo are. Okay. They at the last section of the plains, just as the hills start to go up.
Okay.
You'll start to see them as we get over those plains.
And it's quite cool there today, right?
At the moment, it's about 17, okay, but it's getting up to 30 later on.
So what we'll do is we'll go down. I'm just going to go down a little bit lower as we fly. And we'll also use the thermal eventually, because it'll give us a nice idea of where the animals are, I think. Ooh, that's quite a nice picture. You'll see that a lot of this landscape is reclaimed farmland. You can see doesn't look like pristine wilderness. It's being turned into that, certainly. But a lot of this Eastern Cape Valley bushveld was cleared. All right, let's have a little look at the thermal. That is the thermal. I'm not seeing a great deal of mammal heat signature, I don't think. Switch the lens again. Maybe there are a few antelopes.
So towards the top left,
you
will see there's some animals showing,
yes,
and the
yes,
big, large clump is the buffalo dead ahead now.
Oh, I see. I'm just going to thermal again for you, everybody. So if you look at my mouse, you can see there, those are animals. And that there, if I'm not mistaken, is the buffalo herd. Cool. Okay, we'll switch back. Now, there's a large herd of animals that looks rather like a bush unless you're pretty close. Oh, and there's lots down bottom right. Those are impala, I think, and probably zebras. Hey, Michael, in this area here.
Yes, so the zebras are just in front of the buffalo,
Right,
and to the left.
We'll have a quick look at the zebies first, and then we'll drift slowly over to the beefies. There we are. Hello, zebra. Oh, it's a mum suckling her calf, at least her foal. Okay, I'm just going to go up a little bit simply because they are kind of glancing in this direction. Remember, we want to try and have as little effect on the animals as possible. And just in case this is your first flight, as I always say, obviously the idea is to be as sensitive as possible to the animals. But I do think it's worth noting that the drone is far less intrusive than, say, a vehicle is. And they've got used to the vehicles, and they'll get used to this drone too. There we go. Nice. Verdant green landscape that these zebras are enjoying here in the Kariga River Valley. All right, well, let's just go slowly forward and we'll see if we can't pick the buffalo up without zooming out. There they are. That's a monstrous herd. Look at that. That's fantastic. Good. I'll take a picture. Astounding. Kami G, you say there are many at the waterholes. There won't be too many at the waterholes at the moment. You'll find that there's probably water all over the place at the moment. Animals on that island, that's an interesting question. Elizabeth Beauchamp. You mean where the Oxbow Lake is? Yeah, I've seen some nyala there. Does anything else get across there, Michael?
There were some impala, but the impala don't seem to want to stay on the island. They swim across the river onto the bigger open sections, and there's bushbuck on there.
And they're bushbuck. Sibuya is a big 5 reserve in theory. Yes, correct. GH fan. I say in theory because, Michael, have you ever seen a leopard here?
I have not, no.
But somebody will have, and they'll be around, but yeah, they're not going to be common. All right, let's do a little whirl around these guys. Just to give you an idea of the extent of the herd. Oops. Come on, fly sideways. There we go. We're actually still quite far from them. Nice.
So the elephants, if you are wanting to head in a direction, they were about northwest.
Okay. So
if you head up onto the hill, you'll see there's a plain.
Okay. Let's go there.
The plains just to your right hand side.
Okay.
They were up top.
Up there.
Yeah. So if you head up that section, the top right is where I last saw them, and there was one of them at our beacon, our radio beacon.
There's something flying there. No, that's a smudge on my screen. Let's switch the lens and have a quick look at the thermal. It could be one there.
They were a little bit further up, right at the top of the hill.
Oh, I see.
But there could be some hanging around. They were also along the tree line.
Beautiful. Just go a little bit further up as we fly. Come on. There we go. While we fly forward, Billy Jones, this is almost more exciting than drives. Should be able to see everything happening. Yeah, I mean, it really is. It's a spectacular way to see the wilderness. And I think what's important to understand is that yeah, you can definitely view things from the air in a way that is much less intrusive. Wild dog hunts are a great example. So we've watched a number of wild dog hunts, not with Nature Eye, but with Wild Earth when we had the drones going. And you can see things that you just don't see in the vehicles. But at the same time, it's just clear that you're not affecting their ability to hunt. Is that one just below us? No, that's a bush. Sure.
So they were just along this tree line in front of us here.
Okay. Shall we do a bit of a scan along here? I mean, you cannot, the difference in the landscape between this and where we were at Elephant Sands and in the Lowveld earlier this week is just, it's just phenomenal. I don't see them.
Do you want to see if we can maybe pick them up on thermal?
Yeah, let's do that. Shall I? I'll tilt down slightly so that the sun's not in our faces. And then we'll thermal.
See 3 big red spots up at the top left.
Shall we go look there? That looks pretty good. Those look very elephantish.
Look like it does.
Yes, that's them. There they are. Let me just go up a bit. One, two, three. I'm going up to about 350 feet.
So these 3 that are by themselves are more than likely are not usually in and amongst the family. They're usually sort of on the outskirts.
Cool. 3 bulls.
More than likely the 3 bulls.
There they are. Having a nice feed. Now, I mean, Michael, correct me if I'm wrong here, but this landscape 300 years ago would have had quite a few elephants in it. And as we all know...
Yes, things have changed over time with us moving in.
Yeah. And so this Eastern Cape...
A lot of this area turned to farm.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine it was probably somewhere halfway between the farmed clearings and the kind of thicket that we get there now. It probably wasn't quite... It wouldn't have been as thick as this, I don't think, when there were lots of elephants, but probably not quite as open as the farmland either. That's what I'm guessing. I'm just going to move away a little bit and tilt the camera up. Sorry. There we go. There we go. I think that's a nice distance from them. Feeding quietly in the Eastern Cape Valley bushveld. Are Laura Moore, so much behavior could be observed like this? Yes, absolutely. I mean, it does help. It does help to be on the ground, but I mean, this is another way of doing it, and certainly a very effective way of doing it. Laura Moore is expecting to see Julie Andrews swirling any moment now. I don't think she lives at Sibuya. Donna V, what's the maximum distance the drone can fly? I don't know. Well, I mean, I know that we're geo-fenced. So if you look at the top right-hand side of your screen, you'll be able to see. Sorry, I'm just trying to move a bit here. You'll be able to see that there is a green or blue dotted line, and that's a geofence. So if I try and fly further than that, the drone will stop automatically. But I don't know what it's. I mean, you don't really talk about it in terms of distance with a drone. You talk about it in the amount of time it can stay in the air. And I mean, this drone's probably what, half an hour is about the length of a battery in good conditions. And in wind, it gets much less than that because the drone obviously has to stabilize the whole time. So distance is largely stopped by that geofence there that you can see. All right, I think let's see if we can find these rhino before we run out of battery. Where do we
So if you head in a northeasterly direction,
northeast, so a little bit.
You can follow that road that's below, and then we'll head across the river.
Right.
So tilt up a little bit, and then just to give you an idea of where they are.
Yeah.
If you have a look across the river, there's a green sort of open sort of section that curves around the river.
Yes.
And where the thicket starts to head up, just as that starts to get to the top section. So a little bit more to the left, as it starts to sort of plateau, that's where they were just over the cliff at the Rhino Memorial.
Right.
But getting back to your distance with the drone, the maximum I've been able to fly is about 3.5 kilometers.
Okay.
And it took me about 10 minutes to get that distance.
Okay.
In this area. But signal-wise, you start to lose signal quite quickly, especially with these rolling hills. Otherwise, normally we fly a maximum of about 1 kilometer.
Yeah. So just for those of you who used to watch the Wild Earth stuff, when we had a slightly bigger drone than this, in fact, a lot bigger than this one, and it used to be able to fly. Possibly illegally, but it used to be able to, supposedly was able to fly about, it was supposed to be able to fly about 8 kilometers from where the pilot was standing. Was it? We never obviously tried to fly it that far because we didn't have that sort of distance, but it was also much faster than this one. It had six propellers on it, and it used to go like the clappers. So it would take us about 3 or 4 minutes to get 2 Ks. But it didn't produce a picture like this.
Can you see on the right-hand side? We've got a vehicle, actually, one of our game vehicles, and almost dead ahead, we've got one of our APU vehicles.
Okay. So the Rhino must be there. Let's go up a bit. Sorry, I'm pushing the wrong damn buttons. Let's go up so that we don't disturb the guests. Come on, up you go.
Just lost signal a little bit there. We got it back.
Up you go. I think I can see the vehicles. I think, yeah, I can see the Rhino. Okay, so that's probably high enough. I think they're where my mouse is, unless I'm much mistaken.
A little bit up and to the right.
Yeah. There they are. Bzz. Hi, guys. It's very odd seeing you when I'm sitting in Johannesburg. I've seen them from the river. I think I had breakfast with them about 2 weeks ago. Oh, very special.
They do love to play in the mud on the side of the river.
Yeah. And for those of you, I mean, you won't know this area. It's a tidal river, so it's not fresh water. It's salty and it comes in and out of the sea with the tides, and it means that there are no crocodilos. You do get the odd mad hippo that comes through from time to time, but there are no crocs. Very nice. Gee whiz, we've had a really corking morning here. Amazing conditions. Rhino. We've had elephants and buffalo. Sorry, I'm just trying to do a little bit of an orbit here. It's quite difficult to do it smoothly on the keyboard. Dear, sorry. Now, you'll have to excuse me. And I mean, this is the great joy of this, is that you learn to do it yourself. You're probably getting quite nauseous as I do this now. I'm just going to sit there for a while I answer a few questions. Can we find a leopard? Procida. I think that if we found a leopard, Michael would do his absolute nut. But no, I don't think we'll find a leopard in this Eastern Cape Valley bushveld. Yes, RLR, thank you. You say, and zebra. Will the rhino be aware of the drone, Jive Bunny? They'll hear it. They'll hear a bzzz above them, but we're 140 meters up now. So, I mean, what's that? That's 600 feet? 600 feet or so up. So, I mean, they'll have a very vague idea of it. Yeah, 3 out of 5. Not bad for half an hour. That's absolutely correct, Puma. All of you are greeting each other because you're also polite. But I'm not going to read out all your greetings. Amy Lynn, you say this is very cool. It sure is. Cute rhinos. Well, yes. Picture time. Yes. Okay, Mr. T51. There we go. I've taken a picture for you. You just hit the space bar to take a picture. Mr. T, you say the drone that was on Juma was much louder than this one. Well, we had a couple of variations. Certainly the big one with the 6 blades was much louder than this one. And I think that the four-bladed quadcopter we had at the end that we eventually crashed was probably also louder than this. The technology has certainly come a long way. I mean, that was, 4 years ago or so. So the technology's come a long way. But at the same time, remember, there's no microphone on this drone, so we can't actually hear it. But yes, they are much quieter than they used to be. And then you can see some tall white squills there. Those kind of, they look like snakes poking out of the ground. Oh, gosh, I'm really no good at this orbital stuff when we're so zoomed in. And you can see they are dehorned rhino. All right, let's zoom back out. The drone is going to return to home fairly soon. And there's the anti-poaching guys behind there. You can see I'll point with my mouse. That's the anti-poaching guys. They're the rhino, and they're the guests on their happy game drive. Do you know which camp they're staying in, Michael?
I'm not too sure who was the driver there, but we have both in river and forest camp. They both have guests along the river, and then Bush Lodge is getting guests today, so they won't be out at the moment.
Nice.
Yep, they're turning back.
Okay, so the drone is going home now. I have lost control. So just in summary, you can do this yourself. You go to natureeye.com, use the wildearth.fly or wildearthfly as a coupon, and that'll get you $10 off your first flight. It might get you $10 off your second flight as well, I'm not sure. And you can do this yourself. And the thing that is important to understand is that I was flying the drone. Michael is there to help if necessary, but I was doing all of the flying, which is why so lots of it was quite jerky. It's very simple to do. If you're not a sort of gamer, or you have no interest or no experience with video games, it's absolutely fine. It will take you 5 minutes to learn to fly this drone because there's a computer in the drone helping you, obviously. And the one thing we didn't use today, Michael, was these points of interest. So it won't work now because I don't have control. But if you click on the point of interest there, and it'll take you to points of interest. So you just click on them and it'll automatically take you there. And somebody asked yesterday whether or not you need a guide to do this, or if you can just do it yourself. No, you have to do it with a Michael, because first of all, they'll tell you where on the reserve you can fly and where you'll see stuff. You can ask them questions about the reserve, and you have a conversation, and you can take some advice, which I think would be good. Michael, how much are these?
How much are
the flights?
The flights are $95, and then with the $10 off, it will then be $85.
Yeah, so that's more than a 10% discount. That's quite a bargain, I'd say. G-Fan, you say thanks for another great flight. Well, thank you for joining us. No, Cami G, you don't need a particularly sophisticated mic setup. Your computer microphone will work fine. I mean, obviously, if you've got an ancient computer, it's not going to work. You've got to have computers that have a decent spec. But other than that, no. I mean, I've got nothing set up here that's fancy. It's just a decent PC with the PC camera and the microphone. There's Michael's bag, his water, and there's Michael. He's taken his jersey off. It's warmed up a bit. Right. Okay, everybody. That was wonderful. Michael, thank you very much indeed. We will hopefully see you.
Thank you for joining us.
And we'll hopefully see you again sometime soon. And thank you to all of you for joining us. Our Laura, you say, we'll leave you with this thought about the cost for a nice dinner date. Yes, and let's face it, probably a lot more entertaining.